You've probably seen videos of the cherry blossoms near the national monuments at DC's Tidal Basin. Videos of the crowds of people taking pictures with the Japanese sakura. In this video, I'll tell you about 3 other places that are the best for enjoying the cherry blossoms while avoiding the crowds of influencers and professional photographers. Hi, hello, konnichiwa. My name is Jojo, and if you want to travel the world but you don't want to be a bad tourist, join me. I'm a diversity facilitator, a PR specialist, and a conscious traveler. I help people travel responsibly so that we don't replicate colonization. Here's a few facts about sakuras, commonly known as cherry blossoms. The tree is in the Prunus family with the subgenus Cerasus. It can be confusing because the trees actually don't produce any fruit or any cherries at all, but they are known for their beautiful pink flowers. The trees can be found all over the northern hemisphere, but they originate on the Eurasia continent, specifically within the Himalayan mountains. Sakuras are popular in Japan as the country has cultivated specific varieties over the course of centuries. In Japanese culture, the sakura blossoms are used in a variety of artwork as well as cultural symbols. The flowers represent the philosophy of impermanence. It's the state of only existing for a short period of time, a metaphor for the nature of life being ephemeral and changing frequently. There are a lot of varieties of cherry blossoms, and they all bloom at different times during the spring. Later in this video, I will give you which variety is available at which time. In 1912, the Japanese government gifted the United States with the cherry blossoms that adorn the tidal basin and garnish the monuments of our founding fathers. But of course, this was before the United States forced over 120,000 Japanese immigrants into concentration camps on the western coast between the years of 1942 and 1945, and a series of racist policies driven by President Roosevelt's anti-communist agenda and the concern that Japanese businesses posed a threat to the power of the white, wealthy people in California, Arizona, Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, and Arkansas. As we practice hanami, the Japanese tradition of admiring the cherry blossoms, it's important for Americans like myself to understand 2 things can be true at once. Yes, there is the significance of this diplomatic gift from Japan to the United States. And also, there is the horror that is the Japanese concentration camps and the continuation of anti-Asian forms of racism in the United States. So, if you're like me, you want to enjoy the cherry blossoms, but you also want to skip the crowds. The first thing you need to do is don't go to the tidal basin. The second thing is to understand which cherry blossoms are in bloom and at which times of the spring. The blooms can start as early as late February and last until early May. As I mentioned before, different varieties bloom at different times, but generally, if you are planning a trip to DC specifically for the cherry blossoms, late March is prime time for peak bloom. Even if you are not here during peak bloom, if you come within the springtime, there will always be a variety of cherry blossoms that are in bloom. Okame cherry blossoms bloom in late February, and they are more popular in Northern Virginia and the National Harbor. Magnolias bloom in early March, and you'll be able to see them around the Smithsonian Gardens and Oak Hill Cemetery. Yoshino cherry blossoms typically bloom in late March. They are the light pink variety that you see around the tidal basin. Kwanzan are also seen at the tidal basin, and their bloom lasts a bit longer, up until late April. Wisterias are not in the cherry blossom family, but just as beautiful as the cherry blossom. Wisteria typically blooms in late April to early May. So if you find yourself missing all of the cherry blossoms, you'll still be able to catch the beautiful wisteria bloom. The first place that I ended up visiting was the US Arboretum. For me, I felt this was the most accessible place because you could drive almost directly in front of most of the cherry blossoms. This place was great for families as well as pets. I saw a number of people walking with their dogs. I also saw a number of people having picnics. While you will see a lot of crowds, there is enough space for everyone. Additionally, the Arboretum has a large variety of cherry blossoms, so regardless of when you come during the spring, you'll always be able to catch at least one cherry blossom variety in peak bloom. Haynes Point was by far my favorite place to see the cherry blossoms. They had two different sets of cherry blossoms, one that blooms earlier in the spring and one that blooms a bit later. There's tons of space, so you can really spread out. Once again, you can also bring dogs. One of the things that I love about Haynes Point is that it is right near the water, and you can just sit down on a bench and relax and enjoy the beautiful cherry blossoms, enjoy the water, and enjoy the natural wildlife that is around you. I saw a number of people having picnics, fishing, or just hanging out on the benches. Dumbarton Oaks Gardens was an absolute treasure. Make sure that you book your tickets in advance, and they are reasonably priced. This is a great place to either lay out a blanket for a picnic, or you can set up some snacks and drinks on one of the tables that they have in the gardens. There is so much to see and do in this amazing place. There are different nooks where you can just relax and have a wonderful conversation. I think that the gardens would make a really great first date. Dumbarton Oaks Gardens is also great because they have a variety of flowers. In addition to the cherry blossoms, they have wisteria, and essentially, no matter when you come during the spring and early summer, you will certainly see a large variety of different flowers in bloom. The last thing I wanted to highlight was a couple of bars and restaurants that have cherry blossom pop-ups. Mercy Me offers a special cherry blossom drink, and their terrace changes with every season. So of course, during the spring, every year they do a cherry blossom themed terrace. Residence Cafe also does a cherry blossom themed terrace. Urban Roses Decor features this neon-looking cherry blossom theme all year round. Silver Lion also has a seasonal cherry blossom menu. Lastly, the Waldorf Astoria is a hotel in DC that has a live cherry blossom in the lobby. While it is on the pricier side, you could always book a lunchtime tea at the Waldorf Astoria.
So I'm walking through my neighborhood and I'm just like, what is that smell? Because, I've been dog sitting, so I've been walking around a lot lately. And I just try to walk, maybe I'd say once every other day, if not every day. Because, your girl's got to get her steps in. So, I'm literally like walking through this woods and these like fields and, just the regular suburban neighborhood. I'm like, what is that smell? What tree is out here smelling like that? And it's the cherry blossoms. It's absolutely the cherry blossoms. They are just, and at this point it is late April, almost May, and they're still doing their thing. Like, this was a great cherry blossom season. It honestly smells really good. It smells just like that, just like, those cherry blossom lotions and shampoos. But yeah, so my final tip for cherry blossom season and where to go is, whether you're from the DC area or maybe you're visiting, I would just try to find neighborhoods that plant cherry blossoms, because you don't have to just go into DC. Like, the whole DMV is obsessed with blossoms, and so you can always book an Airbnb that is in a neighborhood that has a lot of blossoms. Talk to your Airbnb host and see hey, are there a lot of cherry blossoms in your area? Sometimes they'll literally post photos of the cherry blossoms in bloom from past seasons to get people to book. So I would not get super hung up on finding cherry blossoms, because you're going to miss this magnificent white blossom that smells delicious and gorgeous and is just as pretty. As you're cherry blossom hunting, as you're going through the DC area, or maybe you're going to go up to New York or Toronto, just literally stop and smell the flowers. Just stop and give it a whiff. And sometimes they'll just smell so good that they will literally call you to them.
If you're picking up when I'm dropping down, share this video with a friend, like this video, subscribe to my channel for more content like this. But if all of those things are just too much time and effort, then at least, I beg you, please don't remove flowers or shake the trees just for your Instagram pics.